VGRT Gaming Podcast, episode 750, recorded on April 10th, 2025.
Hello and welcome to the 750th edition of the TD Gaming Podcast and 583rd episode of Video Game Roundtable. I am TJ Dunzer.
I am Scott Dirk.
And I am Jonah Falcon.
The VGRT Gaming Podcast focuses on game news from around the industry.
No gaming flash. Isn't 750 a milestone? 3/4 of the way to 1,000.
It's pretty dang good.
You know, 583 is not exactly a special number, although it is a high number. So, anyways, a lot of stuff has been going on in the past week. We had Nintendo Direct. We had some other stuff going on. But right now, we're just going to talk about what you've been playing.
Where we starting? Okay, it's me. Let me think. I'm once again divided between things I can talk about and things I cannot talk about. So,
talk about what you can't talk about. That's fun. You can say, I'm playing this thing, which is going to come out soon, and it has a lot of things in it. Talk about those things.
You know,
you can probably already guess what you've been playing.
What's up?
You can already press what thing you can't talk about that you've been playing. It's kind of obvious anyway, so I'm not going to talk about it.
What, Deadlock or?
No, the one that's NDA'd.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, I guess I can talk about Prey because I did start up another run of Prey this last couple weeks.
Which one?
The 26, or was it 2017 or 2016? The newest one. The one that
pretends it's not System Shock.
Yeah, the one that Arcane Studios made.
Yeah. There's the other Prey, and you know what really bothers me is that Prey was really good and had an interesting story, and Prey 2 was going to be even more interesting because you have this kidnapped Native American, and now he's part of an intergalactic society. He's basically walking around Mos Eisley all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't have a Prey 2, we just have a Prey.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm not mad at Prey 2017 because that game is really cool. It's like the perfect encapsulation of all of the things that I love about Arcane. There's so many smart interactions in the game, and the threat of the enemy is a really well built one. For those who don't know, the main enemy in Prey is an alien species that can mimic other things that it comes in contact with.
So you come up and this mug will panic and it's like, oh no, the mug is actually a little creature.
Yeah. Or you might see like a couple things squiggle. They look like little like goo spiders, and they run in every direction and turn into things as fast as they can. And the only way that you can find them is by having, like, at first there's no way to identify them except for they have to mimic an object that's already in the room. So if you see the same two coffee cups sitting in the same room, there's a good chance that one of them is a Typhon.
Yeah, no one ever has two coffee mugs that are the same.
But it's also really still
notorious for just insta-killing you. Oh, I didn't notice there was electricity there.
Yeah.
The problem I had with that game was that I played System Shock and System Shock 2, and it was trying to be System Shock 3. The problem is that the level design was shit.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, and too many locked doors. It was just, it was really bad at onboarding you, for the most part.
Huh.
Here's the thing. I played System Shock 2. You didn't. So when you play System Shock 2, you're going to say, wait a minute, isn't this a lot like Alien Isolation and Prey? Oh, wait, that's right. This game inspired them and also inspired BioShock. God, now I got to play System Shock 2 right now just to go through it and hear Xerxes talk about it is 270 shopping days till Christmas.
I still like Prey. It's got a lot of interesting weaponry in it as well, and the skill tree. Like, you can't. The game is very much built around certain parts of the skill tree where, like, you'll put something into mechanics and be able to fix circuit boards that are shooting arcing electricity into a room.
Prey, because when System Shock 2 and when Night Dive releases the remaster System Shock 2, you will be in heaven.
Sure, but until then, I'm still enjoying Prey. Like, I'm probably not going to not enjoy Prey. It's an Arcane game, and it does a lot of good Arcane things that I enjoy.
But it's funny because Arcane is sort of like everything you love about Arcane was cribbed off Looking Glass, and it's like you play Thief 1, you say, wait a minute, this is just like an Arcane game. Oh, that's right.
See, but I have played Thief, and I do think Dishonored is a better version of it.
Because Thief is from 1998.
I still think it's better than the Thief games.
Well, Thief has a better story than Dishonored, to tell you the truth.
I don't know about that.
You can't. Well, if that weren't true, then why did they have to hire Stephen Russell to play Garrett in Dishonored?
Honestly, that's one of the decisions I didn't agree with, because I kind of liked Corvo as a silent protagonist.
Well, here's the thing. So System Shock 2, you know that Shodan is going to be in it because her face is plastered on the box. And it talks about her an awful lot during the prologue. But when she first appears, that is one of the great moments of gaming. Also, her opening speech, too. You know, look at you, hacker. I have to redo that. It's look at you, hacker. I might as well just look it up. Anyways. But yeah, I'm looking forward to System Shock 2 Remastered, not because it's remastered, but because I'll have a version that everybody doesn't look like stick figures, because that was the problem with the Dark Engine. Here's Shodan when she opens the game. But it's not a commercial. It's not a trailer. It's not Transformers either. Okay, here we go.
Look at you, hacker. A pathetic creature of meat and bone, panting and sweating as you run through my corridors. How can you challenge a perfect, immortal machine?
Yeah, that's how the game opens, and that's how you open a fucking game. Yeah, when you first play it, you're going to be in for a treat.
I am looking forward to checking it out. I have been waiting until the remaster for that because, as I mentioned before, like I knew it was coming at some point. We just didn't know when it was going to launch, and I figured hopefully it should be like a pretty solid version of the game. With, I mean,
you know what's interesting is that the actress who does the voice of Shodan, that's just one of the developers.
Yeah,
she's not a voice actress, and she does an amazing job in all the games.
She did such an amazing job that Night Dive wouldn't do the remake of the first game without her.
The thing is that I don't like the first game in the Night Dive thing, because here's the thing, that game was fundamentally flawed even though it was innovative. System Shock 2 fixed everything, except the only thing everybody hates the weapon degradation in that game. It was obnoxious. I'm willing to bet you anything that Night Dive will have an option in which weapon degradation is a lot slower.
Yeah, I agree with that. I didn't like weapon degradation in the first game.
Yeah. Well, you have to have it has skills, and System Shock 2 predated would later bring forth Deus Ex, which is one of the greatest games ever made. The only reason why I don't play Deus Ex is because the graphics were bad in 2000. They're unwatchable now in 2025. Oh God, it's a quarter of a century since it first came out. Jesus, that makes me feel old. How about you, Scott? What have you been playing? I know what you've been playing, but tell us what you've been playing.
I've been playing Stories from Seoul, the Gun Dog. I finished that game. It's a visual novel, and it takes place in the far future. You're on a spaceship, and you have mechs, and your character that tried to get launched onto a battle, and your mech, failed to launch, and so you're just kind of carrying this guilt of your squad getting wiped out, and you weren't able to join them, and you get assigned to another ship, and apparently your girlfriend gets you assigned there, and there's like a little mystery thing going on, and you have to solve some puzzles and make choices that affect the ending of the story depending on what you do. And it has nice character animations too, because a lot of these visual novels is just like this one static still image. But here there's some animations going on. The characters actually move around, and have like emotional reactions, and so that really adds to it and helps make it fun.
Now tell us how much you're enjoying Suikoden 1 and 2 remaster.
Of course, I've finished Suikoden 1, and now I'm in the middle of Suikoden 2, and it just looks so gorgeous. Just they've added a lot of lighting effects and a lot of just nice, updating the backgrounds, and it's just a lot of fun revisiting the game and the story and just going through it again. And now it's on Steam, so now I'll have it there, and I'll have the achievement for all these different things, like the Clive Quest.
Guess when you're not going to be able to transfer achievements, but
Yeah.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
I have a question, Scott. You love JRPGs, and I always hear people prop Suikoden 2 up as one of the best JRPG stories of all time. Do you think it holds up?
Yes, especially now. Honestly, I'm like having like, damn, this relates to what's happening now. It's scary sometimes, but yeah, I think it holds up.
You know, it's coming close. Player Expedition 33 is coming out
Yes,
very
I'm
soon.
looking forward to that. Player Expedition 33 and the Lunar remaster. Both of those are this month, and I want to get them both.
Yeah. I played a bit of South of Midnight. I haven't gotten very far, but I will say this. It's very interesting what they did. You're playing a claymation game. It's subtle because these are not the normal claymation characters, right? They're like they're tall and thin, but they're human shape. But still, you can tell it's claymation because you can see the rippling of where people move arms and all that stuff. So far, I'm liking it. It's standard in terms of exploration and combat. You know, jump on this. Oh, there's a white line there, which means you can jump onto that and jump onto that. Fighting is, X to attack, B to dodge, A to jump, and when you have an enemy ready to that's down, you can stick them with your sewing needles, and you can't say they kill them. You send them back to wherever they were. You heal them, and they vanish and leave healing aura that you can use to heal yourself. So far, so good. I'm really enjoying the acting and all that stuff, but I haven't gotten far in enough to really say anything about it. Only that, yeah, this is a good one. It's by Microsoft and Compulsion Games, whatever. It's very interesting, and it's really southern, really, really, really southern. So that's all I can say about it, really.
It's really interesting, at least for the case that we don't get a lot of games that explore like Southern Creole history. It's at least very interesting for that much because it's a unique perspective that we don't get in the industry very often.
I get a lot of Coraline vibes off of it, even though it's not the same story. There's just something about it that's so Coraline to me. It's really weird because the girl lives in this house which is on stilts, and then the hurricane comes and it just takes the house down the river, and it was just so bizarre and weird. And her mother is inside it. It's like it's surreal, but then again, the entire game is surreal. Yeah, it's going to be interesting I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one turns out. By the way, Scott, have you played any more of Indiana Jones?
Not yet, but I'm going to. That'll be the next game I play.
Okay, cool. Anyways, we're going to move on to some quick news. And Ubisoft is having its legal fight, and it said that their defense against the Crew lawsuit says, well, we said you don't own your games, so that makes it right. That's the law. That's really going to be that's really going to be your thing. You don't own your game, so we can do whatever we want.
That is so ass backwards. Like,
I agree.
You know what?
The court is going to say what you can do, not you.
Right. And Ubisoft, if you don't want people to rag on you all the time and call you a shit company with no original ideas anymore, maybe you shouldn't create your games with like a dead date in mind where you just turn everything off and kill it. Like that's so short-sighted, isn't it?
It is.
The EU is right now. The EU is doing some stuff. It's not in the notes, but So what happens right now is that they're going to be passing a law which says if you have script you cannot do it so like you have to be allow people to purchase something for the exact amount. So it's sort of like if something costs 300 gems, you can't sell things in 200 gem increments, so that there's always something left off, which means you're forced to pay. And they're going to say the gems are refundable and the items you buy with them are refundable. And that's step one for the EU right now.
Yeah, it feels like the EU is one of the few groups that are holding like groups accountable when it comes to things like loot boxes, microtransactions.
You may not know this, but Belgium outright banned loot boxes. But the thing is that if it's only one country, they can get around it. You know, when you get to the gambling part, they just turn it off and you can't do it in that country alone. When you have 25 countries saying it, then it changes. Sort of like Apple and the USB-C thing. The EU said we have to have standardized things. You can't have proprietary stuff like that anymore. Apple was forced to start doing USB-C because you can't just make one for one region and something for another region with physical products. And that's why, by the way, we right now have, like I said last week, we have refunds, digital refunds, because the EU did it and everybody else was forced to comply because it's uneconomical to have rules for two different regions.
The other one that like had a world impact that I really kind of enjoy was they made a ruling that that when it comes to season pass content, you have to disclose what's going to be in the season pass. You can't just like be like, oh, it's a grab bag mystery. We'll see what happens. Because then in the past, we've had companies that then don't deliver on the DLC that they promise.
They're taking aim they're taking bigger aim at game passes like that, and they're getting ready to ban it. So you can't do that anymore at all.
Yep. And I'll tell you where it had a huge impact is in the fighting game industry, because it used to be that when it came to season pass characters, we didn't know who was coming in a season pass until they decided to reveal that character, the next character in the line. And so you were on the line for the season pass paying for 4 characters that you might not even like while you wait for them to figure out who it's going to be. And now, because of those rules, they have to disclose all of the characters in the season pass, which makes it easier for players to decide if they care to buy in or not.
Yeah, and if they want to have the surprise, then just sell them individually. You know, like all of a sudden, oh, you have Dan. I don't know why anybody want to be Dan, but it's sort of like just individual character reveals. It's Dan. You can buy him for whatever.
Yeah, I think it's been a net positive for the.
Dan, actually, now that I think about it,
I think it's been a net positive for the community because now we get to know what's coming before it comes, and we get to make better decisions with our money.
So yeah, the EU is, and what's funny is that the video game reps are talking about how bad this is because it's going to be so confusing for the consumer.
Not really, no. It won't be. It really won't be.
Yeah, no, it's going to actually be very straightforward. I noticed, by the way, that Microsoft got rid of Microsoft Points a long time ago because they saw this coming.
Yeah. And now Nintendo Switch is set to do the same with gold points.
Nintendo's going to be in for a shock.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Ubisoft is not painting a good picture. And I'm going to tell you something. When you say, oh, well, they can't sue us because we said they don't own their game, is not a good defense. It's not gonna win the judge over. It's not gonna win the jury over if there's one. Just because there used to be signs that say no Irish need apply to this job. Guess what? That was changed. And talking about idiotic executives, Bowser, Nintendo's Bowser. No, not the big green dragon. No, the actual Mr. Bowser. And I still find it wild that Nintendo has for a long time employed someone named Bowser, and him being named, the character being named Bowser had nothing to do with him. The character being named Mario is because there was an executive named Mario something a long time ago, and they decided to name Mario Mario. But Bowser is a complete coincidence. He had the brilliant thing of saying, well, if the Switch 2 is too expensive, just buy the Switch 1. Does he know how stupid that is? I can think of twice someone said that, and it was horrible. Let's talk about Don Matrick. When the Xbox One was still going to be an online-only device, and he was asked, well, what about people who don't have internet? And his answer was, well, we have a device for them. It's called the Xbox 360. And then, oh, God, I forgot his name, but he was a moron. For the PlayStation 3, he said, oh, no, not that, man. Why do I think everybody's done? Anyway, the PlayStation 3 CEO said, people will, the PlayStation 3 is $600, but you know what? We think people will buy it even if it doesn't come with any games.
Mm.
And this is because, based on the history, because people did buy the PlayStation 2, even though they had no intention of buying games, because it was the cheapest DVD player. So this guy, Jim Ryan, was it Jim Ryan? No, it wasn't Jim Ryan. Oh, Trotter, Jack Trotter, whatever. Jack Tretton thought that people would buy a PlayStation 3 even if they didn't want any games because it was a Blu-ray player. The thing he doesn't realize is the difference between a VHS and a DVD is a lot bigger than between a DVD and a Blu-ray. Much bigger difference. And shockingly, no one was buying the PlayStation 3 for a long while because it was so expensive. But yeah, the Switch 2 is going to be $500 or $450.
Yep.
And that was before the tariffs.
Yeah.
So,
there's expectation that they tried to price based on what they thought the tariffs were going to be and then missed the mark. But either way, it's looking like it's going to be even more expensive than what they initially said.
Yeah, the tariffs didn't damage the U.S. economy at all.
For sure.
By the way, he switched it up and decided, we're not going to do the tariffs, but we're going to put the tariffs on China for 125%.
Yeah.
Okay. Donnie, do you know where everything, or almost everything for the United States is manufactured? Hint, it's not India. Although
his own stuff is manufactured in China.
It's not Taiwan.
It's insane.
You have India, you have Taiwan, you have Korea, South Korea, obviously. You have some Indonesia, but most of the shit is done in China. And it's sort of like he has a cycle. Make a stupid rule. The stupid rule is a disaster. Then he reverses that stupid rule and then makes another stupid rule.
Yeah, and there are a lot of companies out there, small businesses and large, that source things from China because China has really low cost manufacturing, for better or worse. I'm not saying it's right.
The funny thing is that China's low cost manufacturing is starting to falter because people there are starting to want more pay, and now it's India. But here's the problem. The problem is that when you do something like this, it doesn't reverse itself immediately.
Yeah, we're permanently damaged now. It's not.
They're not permanently damaged. It's that you can't undo the damage for a long while.
I mean, there's these other countries are going to go off and do other deals, and it's done.
Things to be like they were in the Gilded Age. But here's the problem. Did they ever hear of the Panic of 1893? People seem to forget that depression was even bigger than the Great Depression. And, oh, by the way, after 3 days, we had tripled the Great Depression's stock market losses.
Yeah.
Except in this case, we didn't have anybody jumping out of windows.
It's absurd. And even with just the China tariff, Trump blew it. He bent over backwards and flinched when he saw how much everybody hated what he was doing because he's a flip-flopper.
Here's the thing. Vladimir Putin said that when Trump was elected that he would not live the first year of his presidency. And I always assumed that it meant, one thing, Trump has severe dementia. But now I'm realizing, no, it's going to be, countries are going to tell the United States, get rid of him or we will.
Yeah.
He's causing a global recession. He's hurting everybody.
It truly didn't matter that he was racist and horrible and hateful and petty and shitty and bad at the economy and a horrible failed businessman. But when he starts messing with other people's money, then they care.
Tech bros got the worst of it. And here's the thing is they thought, well, we have Trump. He'll be able to do us favors. Hey, Jeff Bezos, how you doing?
Yeah. And now we've got all sorts of rich people being like, I'm 200,000 to $1 million in the red. Please stop. What is happening?
Is losing hundreds of billions of dollars. And that's the good thing that's coming out of all this is that all these tech bros are getting their asses kicked because they thought they could manipulate it. Hey, Jeff, you want to sell the Washington Post now? I think you might have to. You can't afford it. Idiots.
Indeed.
Idiots. In American public, you want people who are qualified. Just so you know. I don't. Here's the thing. If Mitt Romney somehow got elected, it would suck. But at least Mitt Romney was a businessman and a good businessman. He wasn't an idiot. By the way, he's the one who invented the Affordable Care Act. Just so you know. So, anyways, but the thing is, getting back to this, Nintendo. Here's the thing: when they showed off the Switch 2 at the showcase, it looked really good. There was a lot of good stuff, some questionable stuff, but still pretty good. The games look nice. Oh, look, it's going to finally be 1080p, upscalable to 4K, through AI. That's fine. That's what they used to do with the elder things. But then they start coming out with this shit like, by the way, do you know how you had Astrobot was it the PlayStation 5?
Yes.
Yeah, that's PlayStation 5.
Right.
It replaces Sackboy.
How to use your controller, right? Your new fancy controller, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's free. Nintendo wants to charge $10 to use
No, you're thinking of Astro's Playroom. Astrobot is the platform.
But it taught you how to use your controller, right?
Yeah.
Nintendo wants to charge you $10 to learn how to use their system. That their testicles the size of watermelons.
Yeah, that's a silly decision.
In the Playroom, though, people are wearing different outfits. You don't have to fit an outfit in there.
I remember you, TJ, when you were talking about the Playroom, I think you said that you explored all of it and you just stayed in the friggin' Playroom because it was just so fun.
It is. It's a really, almost anything with Astrobot is super charming and funny and fun. I think it's outright silly to take a thing like that, like what they've got. What is it called? Nintendo Welcome Tour, and charge for it. That's so silly. Why would you do that?
Nintendo, that's not a welcome. A welcome. That is a pay us. That is a gatekeep.
It is, and it's an unnecessary gatekeep because they already have a version of the Switch 2 that's going to come with Mario Kart World, which is assumedly the real thing that people are going to probably go for when it comes to this system.
By the way, I saw this article in Eurogamer, and it was this guy asking, should I buy Breath of the Wild 2, or should I just wait for it to come out on the Switch 3? Because here's the reason why I was asking that is because we've gotten to the point in which older games look better on new systems. You have upscaling and all that stuff, so why play it on the first system? That is the danger of having all this upscaling stuff and all that stuff. It's sort of like, well, this looks good on the Xbox Series X, but maybe I should just wait for the next console to play it.
I mean, it's not a bad idea because, you're right. It is.
It'll be cheaper.
I will say this, that they have offered upgrade paths for a lot of the Nintendo Switch original games that are going to have Nintendo Switch 2 upgraded versions. And that is another point of contention, is that if you're going to upgrade to from Switch 1 to Switch 2, then you only get a digital code for the game instead of having physical versions don't upgrade and get physical versions.
But then it comes back to this. If you're going to do that, Nintendo, then maybe I should just buy a Switch 1 and get the game cheap. It's still the same game.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to be the one that's about gameplay, not graphics upgrades.
Yeah.
I mean, selling the Switch for $450 is an oceanic amount of piss.
It is pretty ridiculous.
It's an ocean. And like I said, the hell of it is, I was watching the Switch 2 Direct, and I was thinking, that's pretty cool, that's pretty cool, that's pretty cool, that's pretty cool. And then a lot of it is sort of like, oh yeah, well, guess what? Now it's not so cool. Now it's not so cool. Now it's not so cool. Now, for example, the game that you're so excited about, Dustbound, it's a live service game.
Dustbloods.
It's a live service game.
Yeah, it's going to be a multiplayer focused game. But they made it clear from the get-go. From Software fans care, actually.
Clear from the get-go when it was in Direct. All we saw were the characters and the character designs. They didn't say anything about PvPvE. They said nothing. They said characters. Was a From Software game. And look at these Dark Souls-esque characters.
But they were running around together in the same place. You didn't from the get-go. It's going to be...
There's no co-op or multiplayer in Dark Souls?
There is. But, in very specific areas, like when you call someone in to fight a boss, or when you travel through an area that's PvP heavy.
Here's what's the thing about Nintendo. They were never about the online multiplayer. I mean, yes, you had Squid Game, not Squid Game. You know the one I'm talking. The one with squids, Splatoon. Yeah, you had Splatoon. Maybe you have, Smash Brothers, but it's always been same machine gameplay. You're there with a bunch of your friends and you're playing. And I know you don't care about the chat and say, well, it's going to be free for a year. But here's the thing: you have a useless button on your controller now.
Sure, but who cares?
You got to put something else there, And
if that button was attached to something that mattered, I would be more upset about it. But it's attached to a Discord clone.
But here's the thing: it could have been attached to something that mattered. There's every gamepad has real estate, and they wasted some real estate.
They did.
Every controller has real estate. I remember the PlayStation 4; they wasted in that stupid touchpad.
I think that a part of it is that every Nintendo system has some sort of gimmick that just goes mostly unused for most of that life.
They voiced that Wii remote stuff for a very long time, even when it wasn't appropriate.
And I think that game chat is going to be Switch 2's useless gimmick.
Yeah,
I really do.
Many people want to use the chat button.
Here's the thing: people are gonna have the same attitudes towards the Switch 2 as they did the Wii U.
I doubt that.
Remember that? What was that bar thing that the Xbox had? I forgot what it was called. I don't think that thing got much use.
Oh, actually, I used it because I like saying Xbox on. And you can still do that. Now you just have a regular microphone if you want to use it. But I actually used it because it was because of Fruit Ninja. That was the only reason why I used it, because it was cool to do Fruit Ninja with the Kinect. It was the only game that really, really worked with and the one game that might have sold Kinect was shit. And the game was the Steel Battalion game. And this is my idea for Phil Spencer. I want to contact Phil Spencer and say, Phil, you want to get people really, really excited? Announce a sequel to Steel Battalion, hold up a gamepad, and say, oh, we're not going to be using this. Toss it aside, and then bring out that $250 Mech controller that the original had. And say, this is your controller. And then the screen shows for Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, Windows, and people will light up at that. What PC? Steam, and then PlayStation 5 and Switch 2. And then he says, oh, by the way, cross-platform play, mic drop. You know how much money they could make from that? It'll be like only the diehards. I guess PC people could use their keyboard, but everybody else, they're going to want that giant controller, which is like a mech, and has an eject switch too. That was the coolest part.
Yeah, and it had the little flippy. You had to flip up the casing and then press it.
It came with, I believe, it also came with the pedals for your mech and all that stuff. I mean, people are hungry for that. I'm telling you right now. Even people who normally don't like mech games, they will be interested in that. It'll be like the new Rock Band. Oh well, guess what? You have to get all 4 controllers if you really want to enjoy it. And what really bothers me is that Rock Band 4 is still out there. The only problem is it is almost impossible to get all the controllers for it. The drum controller, the guitar controller, all that stuff for it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do me some Rock Band, damn it. Okay, Marathon won't require a PSN account both on PC and Xbox. I don't think Sony wanted to have that agita, especially since isn't Marathon supposed to be a single-player game? Or did they make it co-op or something like that? There's some multiplayer element to Marathon now, isn't there?
It's supposed to be an extraction shooter, from what I understand.
Okay. So no PSN account, which is interesting because MLB doesn't require a PSN account, but if I want to go to the forums, I do need to link up with them. So it's not like it's something strange. It's just that with PC, and when they started doing PSN accounts on single-player games on PC, it's sort of like people freaked out. Like, what the hell? I'm ambivalent about Marathon because Bungie without Microsoft, they're not very good, are they?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, they still love Destiny 2, but they're unfocused without Microsoft, it seems like. Because maybe Microsoft just said, do this, please. You know,
I feel like they've kind of lost the sauce.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know. Maybe I'll be wrong, but it feels like they've kind of just fizzled out when it comes to Destiny 2. Destiny 2, I never thought I'd see it, but like Destiny 2 feels like it's in its twilight at this point.
But here's the thing: the thing that really bothers me. Apparently, Bungie got tired of doing Halo games. Right? They want to do something else. So what's the first thing they do? They do Destiny. Hey, it's Halo, except with different names, but the same pretentious shit. The Calling, the this, the that. You know, it's like the Traveler, the Witness. You know, oh God. Halo, I mean, Bungie, you could have made us all happy if you just did a sequel to Oni. Or Myth. That was a game of the year once upon a time.
Yeah.
You know? And for those youngins, Myth was what we call a real-time strategy game. Although it was revolutionary because instead of having little units, it was actually characters. So you had real-time strategy, but with full-grown characters instead of units. But yeah, I mean, I remember a day when Bungie did other stuff. So, but Oni, I love. Hey, if you want to remaster Oni, I'd be all for it. It had one of the great anime stories that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I remember it being stylish. Like, I would love to see that come back in some form.
It only had one decision path, but they made it count. Either you kill the police chief or let him live, and the story change depended on which one you did. And I spared him, and what I did, she just turned around and gave him one hell of a reason you suck speech. He just said, I'm done. I don't blah, blah, blah. You know. And then at the very end, spoiler for a 30-year-old game, at the end, if you spared him, he comes back with the cavalry.
Yeah.
So it was really fun. Also really, really hard. That game was hard. Imagine doing a fighting game while there's a sniper shooting at you.
Yeah, that sounds a little bit intense.
Yeah. So in that game, you did fighting moves and you learned fighting moves, but it was also a third-person shooter. So while you're doing that, you also have to take out your gun and occasionally shoot people. It was hella fun. I suggest going, if you can find a Let's Play, watch it. You might really love it. Like I said, I'm not a huge anime fan, but that I was a fan of that story. Anyways, okay, here's a game that's going to make TJ. Here's an article that's going to make TJ giggle like a schoolgirl. Endless Legend 2 comes to Steam Early Access in summer 2025. Amplitude and Hooded Horse have set a target season for their upcoming 4X strategy game. And I know you're really looking forward to it.
I am. Endless Legend is like, it's 4K for people who like a good story. And like in the original game, like every single faction not only had their own gameplay mechanics, but they also had their own narrative and goals by which they were trying to win the game.
You know, it also reminds me a little bit of Heroes of Might and Magic too.
Yeah. Because and that's going to be a thing in Endless Legend 2 as well. Because like the first faction that we've seen is going to be a hugely defensive one, very big at like digging in, fortifying themselves, making phalanxes against enemy forces. But their overall strategy is that their big they're basically gospel leader. Their gospel leader is missing, and they need to venture out into the world to find them. So they have to break from their defensive structures and go searching for their leader. And then the second group that they've shown so far is the Aspects, and their whole thing is that they're a mix of organic and machine, and their whole thing, and they believe in peace and balance and negotiation with everybody, including the planet. So they have like bonuses where they can use the planet and build up resources and defenses from it. Or even like there's one where they can like create land masses across water and send their troops across them safely. And but their whole thing is that they also negotiate with other factions and try to assimilate them into their group.
Have you ever played Master of Magic?
I haven't.
Okay. So Master of Magic was one of my favorite games in 1995, and what it was Civilization meets Magic the Gathering. And it was shameless about it because the creatures that you could summon, oh wait, that's Magic the Gathering. It's on Epic Game Store. Probably cheap by now. I would suggest doing it. It's not like Endless Games, but it is a nice. It's a nice alternative. By the way, Scott, did you ever turtle in Civilization?
Oh, you mean Like I would. I did that during a culture victory I was doing, where I was being pacifist, or maybe that was
No, just extremely defensive.
Yeah, just staying defensive and not going on the offense. Yeah.
Yeah, I almost always turtled in Civilization. That was my strategy because I was always going for Alpha Centauri. I wasn't going for world domination. But yeah, the endless games are cool. I haven't played them that much, but I have codes somewhere. Probably at Gamersgate. So
I mean, if you ever have a chance, I would say give it a try because there is easily
I this dungeon confused by it.
By playing some of the more vastly different factions, it's like playing a different game each time you settle in with different rules.
There was a game series called Warlord, which was a turn-based strategy game, Warlords. And the one I reviewed was Warlords 4, Heroes of Etheria, and that had hundreds and hundreds of factions. Well, not hundreds, but hundreds. It was just, there were so many units. It was sort of like they just piled on units after units after units after units. And it was actually a surprisingly simple game to play, but there was so much you can do with it. When did that game come out? It came out in 2003. So I would suggest if you can find some old abandonware for the Warlords series, try Warlords 4. It's primitive by today's standards, but it's still pretty cool. And it's by Ubisoft when they were doing something other than open world games. Anyways, we're going to move to the first news item. Former Blizzard president says, I'm not sure where Diablo is going. And this comes from some PC Gamer. Diablo 4's next expansion isn't arriving until 2026. So you'd think there would be a lot of seasonal content, but instead it's just Battle Pass style season grinds to unlock various gubbins. There's some other stuff in there like new lair bosses, but when an earnable pet is a flagship feature on every time slot of your roadmap, there's something wrong. It doesn't help that when it goes to 3/4 into the roadmap, it's sort of like, yeah, we got more trust. This is going to be great. Nothing, just, some cool stuff are coming. Mike Ibarra, who used to be the former Blizzard president, and by the way, I remember him mostly from working with EA and doing some fantastic EA games during the album cover EA games. He said that basically don't ship to check a box, meaning don't release a game just because you need to show you released it. It's the end of the quarter. We need some money fast. Because basically what happens is you end up having to patch it. Pause and give the team time to really address the end game issues, which is, in a game like World of Warcraft and Diablo, guess what? A lot of people are going to reach the end, and you better have some content there. You have to give them a reason to come back, or else they're just going to be bored to tears. You can't do the same raid over and over and over again, right? The expansion schedule is too long. It should be yearly. Reduce the story investment and focus on new classes, new mob types, and new endgame activities that last for more than a few days. In other words, the story is nice, but you know what? People play games. Remember what Paul would say. I know what Paul would say if he was here. He would say, story is gameplay. Story is gameplay's bitch. And finally, he said he doesn't quite know where Diablo is going because they still have the same problems year after year after year after year. So I'm still waiting for Diablo 4 to come out on Game Pass before I play it. I know Diablo 3 just landed on Game Pass, by the way. So
it does feel like a win and not if type thing.
Yeah. I mean, Diablo 4 was supposed to be the fresh breath after the fiasco of Diablo 3 and their real money store. And Diablo, was it Eternal, the mobile version? Diablo something. And
Diablo Immortals.
Yeah. The hell of Diablo Immortals is that if you took away all the live service DLC, drain the player's money bullshit, it was actually one of the best Diablo games.
It really was good. I played it for a while, and it was a great time waster on my phone when I didn't have anything else to do. Also, it was the kind of game where you could just turn it on and lose a chunk of your day without thinking about it.
Yeah, and I think if I were Blizzard, I would just say fuck it. Let's start working on Diablo 5 and give it a 2.5-year development cycle and just make it a plain old Diablo game. You know what I mean? A single-player Diablo game, well, multiplayer. You could have multiplayer in it too. But no loot live service or anything like that. Just make a Diablo game. The thing that people want from Diablo is the loot cycle. Because the one thing that Diablo 2 perfected was loot drops. Because every time someone dropped a magic loot on the floor, I would be on it and say, "Oh, what's this? What's this? What's this? What's this?" You don't have that with Diablo 3. You don't have that with Diablo 4. Except for the hardcore players who care about this shit.
Yeah, agreed. And I think that, like, to a certain, it's been such a weird roller coaster for Diablo 4 as well, as they've gone through just a stupid bad launch, and then like nerfing certain spells that people needed to to make their characters work, breaking builds, fixing things to a certain extent, breaking them again, and then putting out the expansion, which like made everyone go nutter butters. But like, it's been a real up and down road for Diablo 4 since it came out.
They need to get back to basics. They need to do a Diablo 5 and pretend Diablo 4 didn't exist.
Yeah, maybe so.
And here's the thing, I didn't like Diablo 3 because I hated the story, and the loot wasn't good. And if you don't have a good story, you don't have good loot, then you don't have a game. Actually, I would say forget Diablo and just make a Warcraft 5. Actually, Warcraft 4. I don't think Warcraft 4 never came out. It ended at Warcraft 3.
It did, and then they went on to
World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft.
Yeah. Oh God, have you seen all the commercials for World of Warcraft lately? They are really trying to get people to join again. It's not like they don't have players. They have tons of players, but it's sort of like, hey, look at all the good old stuff. Come back. I'm saying no.
I wonder if the money they spend on making the stuff they make for World of Warcraft like negates the amount. Like they need a massive amount of people playing at all times to make back that money. Because it's worth noting that right now in the World of Warcraft universe, they're going through a series of 3 expansions back to back to back that they have planned out.
Oh yeah, and they're bringing back BlizzCon, which is a good thing because they haven't had BlizzCon in 3 years. And they skipped the last 2. And you know what happens when you go to BlizzCon? You get a loot bag. You can bet your bottom dollar an expansion is going to be in that loot bag. I never went to BlizzCon, but I always wanted to go.
It's exciting to see that it's coming back. I went to QuakeCon in 2024, and man, it's just a vibe in there. It's one of the largest LAN parties in the world. I think there's one larger one in Eastern Europe, but it's still like one of the biggest LAN parties, bring your own computer setups in the world. And it's so cool to see the stuff that they show off each year.
You see something here. Yeah, the first QuakeCon was 28 years ago. 28 years, in 96.
And it's an energy like, there isn't too many things like it. I've talked to the folks at Doom a few times about it, and they're like, it's the best home field advantage a developer could ever ask for.
Yeah. And they still managed to have it in 2019, 2020, and 2021. One thing, it's kind of easier because you can isolate people when they're playing an online video game.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, every year, nonstop.
It's awesome, too. It's so fun.
Yeah. What the frig was his name? The first Halo celebrity, not Halo, I mean Quake celebrity, and then he became a writer for PC Gamer, and I'm trying to remember what the hell his name is. Fatality.
Oh yeah.
Fatality. And I got pissed off because when he was writing, he did 3 articles and 3 consecutive issues about Quake, and I told the editors, "What the fuck? Can you talk about something else, please?"
No, just Quake, only Quake.
No, he did change though. So because they were also kind of they're also getting kind of tired because you gotta talk about something else, please. Even if it's another shooter, just talk about it. This is not Quake magazine.
It also hurts that there's just not much to talk about Quake these days.
No. The last thing they could talk about Quake. Oh no, they're talking about there is another Quake being remastered. I don't think it's Quake Champ. No, not Quake. A
lot of people are hoping it's Quake 3 Arena.
Yeah. What I love is that they were the first to have women gamers, and they had They had the girls only thing, and you had some really famous Quake players, women Quake players coming out of that one too, who later became developers. So yeah, I mean, Quake has always been, or maybe id Software has always been the most inclusive. I'm trying to remember his name. Oh, what was the name of that group of Quake female Quake players? And I'm trying to remember their friggin' name. They had a name.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Anyways, The one thing I remember about those, I was always an Unreal Tournament kind of guy because I loved the mod they had for it. One of the mods actually had you doing multiplayer, but with the enemies from the regular game in it. And then I would have the spells one, in which I could, if I leveled up my character enough for it, I could shoot out a giant meteor at people. Anyways, we're moving on to the next item. Xbox announces June showcase event. This comes from Eurogamer. Microsoft has locked the date and time for its annual June announcement extravaganza, the Xbox Game Showcase, RIP E3, and revealed that The Outer Wilds 2 will be getting the dedicated deep dive directly afterward. It'll air on Sunday, 8 June at 6 p.m. UK time. That's 1 p.m. for Eastern or 10 a.m. for Pacific. And then they'll go straight to The Outer Worlds 2 Direct, which before was in 2023 was for Starfield, and for 2024 it was for Black Ops 6.
Are you excited for The Outer Worlds 2? I know you were kind of sour on the first one.
Well, it's going to be on Game Pass, so I'm going to be mildly interested. It'll be interesting to see what they do with it.
It was the story, right? You weren't crazy about the story in the first one?
No, I wasn't crazy about the gameplay, actually, to tell the truth. The story was okay, but the gameplay did not hook me. I mean, it was great if it was a Bethesda game, but for an Obsidian game, I've seen Obsidian do much, much better. But what's also interesting is that a lot of people think that The Outer Worlds 2 isn't one of those games that is going to be like thunderous, like here's Outer Worlds 2. A lot of people think that the game that was going to be getting the showcase was going to be Fable, except that's been pushed back to 2026. Fable would have been exciting for everybody involved to see the deep dive for that. A lot of people are looking forward to Fable.
Yeah, I'm interested to see more of it because I think we've seen a tidbit of gameplay, but not much at this point, right? Like they showed a small teaser of it a little ways back.
Here's the thing: this is going to be the first Fable game without Peter Molyneux, and a lot of what was wrong with Fable, a lot of what was right also, but a lot of what stumbling blocks of Fable were Peter Molyneux trying to do too much and then having to cut back. You're not going to have that with the new Fable. It's going to have everything that it's supposed to have and not have someone trying to make it into a universe game, like it does everything. So it's going to be interesting to see what Fable is like without Peter Molyneux.
It's Playground Games working on it this time, right?
Yep.
That should be. I'm excited to see how they handle it.
I have a feeling that it's been delayed for two reasons. One, it was going to be a live service game, Fable. And two, they wanted to use the Unreal Engine 5 for it. So they probably scrapped it and started anew to make it a not live service game and an Unreal Engine 5 game. I bet your bottom dollar. Anyway, moving on to the next item. Go ahead, Scott.
Okay. PlayStation legal issue delays Vampire Survivors cross-save on PS4 and PS5. This is from Eurogamer. Vampire Survivors previously announced cross-save features will not be launching on PlayStation 4 and PS5 at the same time as other platforms due to legal issue. Writing on social media, developer Chronicle said the team had run into an issue last minute which requires us to share info on our partners that were unable to. As such, the chances of cross-save coming to PlayStation consoles is now very slim. We're so sorry to build up any anticipation for this feature on PlayStation only to change plans at the last minute, Chronicle wrote before closing. For anyone wanting cross-save just to unlock trophies, it's worth noting that PS5 trophies are automatically disabled on platform level for all games when using a save file from another platform. As for another platform, cross-save will be coming to Vampire Survivor via PC, Xbox, and mobile devices in coming weeks. It will then arrive for those playing on the Nintendo Switch at an unspecified later date, as well as Apple Arcade if the developer can do so without breaching any privacy commitments. Not only that, Vampire Survivors is also getting its own animated TV series.
Because of course it is.
Yeah.
But this is so stupid. This is just so mind-bogglingly stupid.
It's very strange.
A legal issue? It's cross-saves.
Yeah,
what
that
legal
is.
issue is being violated there?
Who knows? It could be like an under the hood, like the methodology by which saves are formatted on one system or another. It really is like the kind of thing where just like
You want a bit
I feel like PlayStation is also one of the main culprits when it comes to screwing up crossplay capabilities when games announce that stuff. Because, like, again, I remember that PlayStation used to be completely down on crossplay because they want you to buy the game on PlayStation.
Final Fantasy XIV, Microsoft did not want to be a part of Final Fantasy XIV when it first came out because they did not want to do cross gameplay.
Mm.
And Sony said, "Oh, look at them! They don't want to do." And then the roles reversed, and now it's PlayStation who does not want anything to do with cross play, and they hated it. And the only reason why they were forced into it is that Fortnite was a behemoth, and it was looking bad for them. So you can thank Fortnite for cross-platform play. I think this entire problem has something to do with the PSN store. It has to. It has to. Something about marking a game for PS4 and PS5 as separate games is a bugaboo with the PlayStation store. Because here's the thing. As you know, Microsoft has a lot of games that are save anywhere or play anywhere. And you can buy, if you buy it on one platform, you got it on the other. Right? Like if you buy South of Midnight, you bought it on the other platform as well. So
yeah, it seems like every company has been greedy at some point or another when it comes to the crossplay topic, but this is stupid on PlayStation's part, and the only people that suffer are the players because, like, why are you even doing that? Vampire Survivors is a bomb ass game, and its new content is always awesome. And gets people
even more content for free today.
Yeah, like they straight up threw a free expansion in the game that's based off of the new Saga game, Saga Emerald Beyond.
And here's the thing: the game itself costs $4 or $5.
Mm-hmm.
The expansions cost $2.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Vampire Survivors is on Game Pass, but if you look at the comments, they say, "Well, it was on Game Pass. I played it." And I said, you know what? I'm going to throw money their way.
Yeah, because they're not asking for much. And it's a lot of content they include with each expansion.
And by the way, I haven't even scratched the surface because I know there's unlockable content. I just haven't figured out how to unlock it because that is a puzzle. You have to do certain hoops in order to get certain content and unlock more characters.
It's really interesting how some of them work, too. I've always liked the weapon combo system, where you have to find certain pieces of things and then you can put them together into bigger, stronger weapons.
Some of them are worthless. Some of them are good.
Some of them are amazing.
Yeah.
Garlic is probably my favorite. Garlic in the pulmonary heart to give you that circle, that black circle that pulses and heals you.
We'll have the garlic along with that one that has crosses going around you as well, so you have a double shield.
Absolutely.
I like the one that blows everything up on the screen. Early, it's kind of annoying because it'll blow everything up on the screen, including the drops.
Mm-hmm.
But then, especially when you unlock the special version of it, it leaves everything on the screen, and now you're just soaking in all these gems. And here's the funny part. I actually made it to the end in that I defeated death. Didn't defeat them, but kept them away. And the game congratulated me for this because what happens is he can only attack you for a certain amount of time before you. And I had it so that I was getting back health, and as fast as I was getting drained of health from him, and it would freeze him every time that explosion happened. So I was able to get away with it. And the game said ended like it's 35 minutes. Okay, that's it. No. You win. Level over. You defeated him. Congrats.
Yeah. Such fun.
Yeah. I don't play it much, but it's this perfect sort of game in which if I'm sitting down and I'm bored, it'll be like, you know what? Let me do some Vampire Survivors.
That game is also a life fast forward button.
Drop it again. What?
I said that game is also a life fast forward button.
Oh, you also have. I don't do turbo anymore, which makes it makes the game levels shorter because I found that if it's slower, you're able to, even though you're moving faster. The monsters are a lot more difficult when you're going in fast speed. So, but yeah. But also, not being able to transfer your trophies, that's just petty.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And that's the thing, is that if I'm going to buy it makes me, the other thing about cross-save progression is that you get people to buy the game again on other platforms because they'll take it to their preferred platform. If I felt like playing on PlayStation, I would be happy to bring my progress there if I could. But like, if there's no cross progression, then why would I want to start from scratch on another platform when I've worked so hard to build up all the stuff I have on the version I like?
And Microsoft, it's completely free. You know, they had, like I said, they had to buy anywhere, and that's because they want to keep you in the Microsoft ecosystem on PC.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's stupid. This is also stupid. Fortunately, like I said, it's cheap, and you can get it. Oh, by the way, speaking of cheap, something I noticed on Steam right now, Spiritfarer is only $4.50. And if you want all the other media, it's $6. So if you haven't played Spiritfarer yet, now's a good time to play it. It's an amazing game. There was another point I wanted to make, and now I completely forgot it. So, anyways. Oh, yeah. At some point, if there's a sale, I do want to get the Binding of Isaac, one with all the content. Because now that I've played games like Vampire Survivors, I want to play the Binding of Isaac. Have you ever played the Binding of Isaac?
Yes. I love that game.
Yeah. I want to play it, but I want to get achievements. I think I have it on Steam. Pretty sure I have it on Steam. Yep, I do.
Do you have the super uber unholy
version? I haven't played. Listen, this is what I love about Steam. I have the Binding of Isaac. It's just the original version, and I haven't played since November 12th, 2017.
I feel like Binding of Isaac has like at least 4 or 5 different versions at this point.
Oh no, expansions. Yeah, I'm saying there's about like 50 endings. One true ending.
But we're at the point where it's like the Binding of Isaac Ultra Unholy Afterbirth Super Edition, right?
Well, all I see right here is I have the Wrath of the Lamb expansion too. But let me see what I don't own. Explore the full franchise. Here we are. So yeah, the Wrath of the Lamb. It's still not showing me all. I have to go to the store page. All of the Binding of Isaac. Oh, look at this. The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus is the one with all the DLC in it.
Nice.
Let me see what DLC is included in it. Okay, so it just tells me what it has in it. It doesn't tell me but I know that it has a shit ton of expansions. Anyways, look for our show notes at gamingpodcast.net, along with industry news and our gaming history articles. We enjoy a few likes. So those comments on our blog at gamingpodcast.net. Also, hit us up at facebook.com/gamingpodcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes. Leave us some iTunes comments. You can find me at Blue Sky at Jonah Falcon.
You can find me at Johnny Chugs.
You can find me at Shard the Sage.
And we will see you next week, hopefully.
Happy gaming, everyone.
Have fun, be cool, play games, y'all.
Hopefully next week eggs won't cost $30 a box.
Yeah.
By the way, one thing is that they there's this one retailer, I think it's Walmart, that is actually showing how much you're paying extra because of the tariffs.
That's
a separate line item.
Nice little reminder there.
Every shop should do that.
Yeah.
Every shop should be putting that on their packaging.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, one other thing from the Nintendo Direct, which was kind of shocking to a lot of people, but it shouldn't be because Hades 2 will be a console exclusive on it for a year on the Switch 2. And for
Switch 2 and Switch 1, yeah. That is wild.
On PC.
It is on PC. This is the first time it'll come to console, Scott.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be console exclusive for a year, which isn't too strange because the original Hades didn't hit consoles until a year after it was released on PC anyway. So, but yeah, Hades 2 will be on Switch 1 and 2 for a year exclusively, and then it'll come to the other consoles. I have the early access version on Epic. I haven't tried it yet because I want to play it fresh when it first comes out.
Same. I don't mind checking it out in early access a little bit, but I'd far rather play the finished project when it hits 1.0 and experience it all at once, as opposed to like piecemeal. I did that with Baldur's Gate 3 as well. I really wanted to jump in, but like
I bought it first day on early access, and I played a little bit, and I said, "Oh, this is okay," and I could see where there was content missing, and I said, "Okay, I'll come back when it's released." And then I played it when it was released, and I was disappointed with the product. It's sad. I mean, I hate to be the one contrarian, but I do not worship at the altar of Baldur's Gate 3. It has significant issues to me. But, Larian's moved away from Baldur's Gate, and they're doing something else. And now Hasbro wants to find another developer to do Baldur's Gate 4.
I feel bad for anyone that's doing Baldur's Gate 4. They have such a high bar. I mean, I don't think it needs a high bar, but I know other people are going to be like that. Like, if it doesn't look as good, Like if it was pixel 2D, people would rake it and be like, "No, this is terrible."
The point about Baldur's Gate 3 wasn't the graphics. It was the Larian has this thing in which everything can affect everything, and you can do stuff. Say, "Oh, I can do that," like kick someone off a cliff to kill them, or throw your fire at an oil slick and burn it, and watch,
See, I love that. I absolutely adore that about their games.
Environmental stuff is not hard to do. It's
I'm just saying that's what people buy Larian games for, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by all accounts, by all accounts, the thing they're going back to is the Divinity series, which I'm super excited if they're doing Divinity Original Sin 3.
No, here's the thing. Okay, let me give you a different example of Larian. So you're talking to Asterion, right? He's a vampire, and you can convince him. Okay, I won't feed on anybody, any person, just animals. If you're a druid, you can say, "Well, I talk to animals." And it's just, fine. I will just eat things that are too stupid to talk to you. That level of depth. My favorite comment on a YouTube thing was, wait till he tells Asterion he can talk to plants too.
Yeah, but he can't feed on plants.
No, but that's the joke.
I know, just to be annoying.
Yeah, but and by the way, Baldur's Gate has a lot of ancillary content that's coming out, and god damn it,
I know, they just keep updating it.
Games for DeviantArt right now. It's like you think there's a lot of DeviantArt for for Undertale. Baldur's Gate 3 is approaching it.
I'm not surprised.
No, I am more surprised about Undertale, but and the fan-made games in which you play an unrepentant character, which I guess is fine. I'd like to be able to do a murder everything run without screwing up my save file for the future. The game remembers, hey, we remember that you did an apocalypse run. We know when you went. So don't fool us. And by the way, that's the entire meta aspect of Undertale, is that it's about playing video games. It's about playing video. It's not about the story of the monsters. It's about playing video games, and it's about save files. It's about how you act towards things because it's a video game. When you're playing Grand Theft Auto, you might as well shoot people in the head because you're not going to have any real consequences, right? This game's bullshit.
Yeah, no. Like if you kill a character in Undertale and then you restart the game and try to save, it'll come back and be like, "Hey, you think you're pretty smart, don't you?" But we saw what you did.
That's interesting. You bring up Grand Theft Auto because in LA Noire, it's very hard to run over people.
But here's the thing:
the game will not let you run over people.
Here's the thing: the game doesn't talk to the character you're playing. The game talks to you. The game, when Floey tells you about this stuff, he's not talking to the character. He's talking to the video game player because that's the entire point of the game. The video game, the player is God, and he can wipe away his mistakes by save scumming. He can undo all his mistakes, and the game realizes, and that's what Floey is telling you. We know that you just want to do something new, Mr. God, but guess what? I remember what you did. You can't fool me because it's talking about the same. It's a very meta texture, and that's why it was a single developer who released it and didn't think anything was going to come from it. Right? The developer just thought, I'm just going to make this game, practice game here, and I'm going to have no fourth wall in it. It's about not having a fourth wall, just that. It's about playing video games, literally about playing video games, not the game.
It's about having choices that actually stay with you.
Well, it's not that exactly. It's more like, how there's a game, Coffee Talk, right?
Yeah.
And if you play through it, spoiler for an 8-year-old game now, you find out that your save scumming is your character's power. And when the guy in the astronaut suit comes, he talks about, hey, I know you can load and save games, and I know you can fix your mistakes. We know that you have the ability to load and save and load. And that's the justification he has for when you make a bad cup of coffee for someone. Like, there's one character who's always writing, and that she wants something with caffeine that's going to keep her awake. The right move is actually to give her something that makes her fall asleep. And you find that out late in the game, and you can revisit that scene. You can just go right back to that save point and you can change your decision there. And guy in the spacesuit says, "Yeah, I know you can do that. I can do that. All of our species can do that. We know that you can load and save this game." And that's what Undertale is doing.
Mm-hmm.
The flower is telling you, "I know you can load and save this game and correct your mistakes or change things the way you want it. I know you can do that."
But I'll always remember how horrible of a person you are.
That's it. He says, he actually says, you were horrible because you knew you could do it and you could get away with it by loading a new save or starting a new game over. Mm-hmm. But I remember that you treated us like video game characters and you really didn't care about us. You actually did not care about us because you're a player. We're video game characters. We can be resurrected. But you know what? I know that you did that.
Yep. And Deltarune has some similar things going on. I've been following that game I've played through the first chapter and the second chapter. I'm really excited for the third and fourth because it's gonna be as subversive as Undertale was. It's already there. Yeah. And I'm really excited to see how that story goes. It's a really good story too. The Undertale and Deltarune stories are really good. I really enjoy them. Even with if you take all the meta stuff and put it aside, it's a good feel good journey. Unless you're a bad person, in which it's a real feel bad journey.
Or it's the thing is that if you go for a murder run, you don't have to feel bad. You can just say, fuck you. I don't care.
Sans will make you feel bad when he tells you you're a horrible person and then kicks your ass for 2 hours.
But you can also say, well, I am a horrible person, so fuck you.
Yeah, but then he's also like the hardest boss fight in the game, and he kicks the crap out of most people.
I'm just saying, you don't have to be a good person. There's a lot of reasons why people only play Renegade Shepherd.
Mm-hmm.
I always play Paragon Shepherd because I like the character, but there's some things as a Paragon Shepherd, sometimes you take the Renegade option anyway. I know a lot of people like to kick that guy through the window, even though if they're a Paragon Shepherd. I don't. What I do is if I'm a Paragon Shepherd, at the point in which Legion and Tali are arguing, I will hit the Renegade option because what he does, he says, "What the fuck are you doing? What the hell are you doing? You can either follow me or get out of my way, but you're not going to wreck this operation with your petty squabbling." Idiots. And that's the other thing. Similarly, in Mass Effect 3, when you're doing the Korean Get decision, to save both of them, I'm the most Paragon Shepherd. But at that point, these two assholes have pissed me off so much. I give them the Renegade speech, which is, you know what? The Geth are going to come to full strength. And you know what? If you don't stand down, I will stand back and watch them wipe you out. Because I am done. I am done. Let them kill you all. If you believe me for a second, you won't fight them. But hey, if you want to fight them, go ahead. And I will laugh as your species goes extinct. And they listen to you. Because at that point, I'm done with their shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you ever gotten to that point in Mass Effect 3?
I have not.
You haven't played Mass Effect 3? Yeah, here's the thing. In order to get that, you have to jump through a lot of hoops from Mass Effect 1 and on.
Right. I have played Mass Effect 3, but I haven't gotten that far into it.
Oh, okay. I will say this, now that the extended cut is there and the Citadel DLC is there, I usually wait to do the Leviathan DLC before you get to the ending, and then after the Leviathan DLC, you do the Citadel DLC, then you do the end content, because then you get all of the thing. It's sort of like, so I would wait. Anyways, we really are going to leave now. I mean, I could talk for hours about the. You know what I will do is I will send you a link to the YouTube video talking about the meta nature of Undertale, and you'll find it very interesting because I learned some things that I didn't realize the first time around. I could talk about Mass Effect for hours, and it looks like Mass Effect 5 is not going to happen.
I just want isometric, turn-based pillars or Baldur's Gate game. I don't think that's too much to ask.
Avowed yet? Have you played Avowed? Here's the thing about Avowed, Scott. That game was made for you.
Was it?
Yes, it was made for you because if you enjoyed Pillars of Eternity and Pillars of Eternity 2, I found out from talking to people that Avowed is really, really deeply ingrained in Pillars of Eternity 2. almost the entire story is like the epilogue to Pillars of Eternity 2. It is directly everything about it. It's Pillars of Eternity 2.5, and the first person, except taking the Elder Scrolls route. I'm saying right now, if you really love the lore of the Pillars of Eternity, you'll be swimming in this game. You'll just be like, I'm enjoying every second because I know everything about it. I know everything. I know what they're talking about. I don't need anything explained to me. I know this. I know that. I know what happened at the end of Pillars of Eternity 2 and what they try to do. This is the aftermath of everything they did with that. And I don't even have to do spoilers because you already know the spoilers for Pillars of Eternity 2. So it's sort of like everything. Here's the thing. All the questions you had at Pillars of Eternity 2, Avowed answers. If you ever wonder what happened to everything that happened in that game, Avowed is basically the epilogue.
Okay.
So, like I said, when you get around to playing it, and you enjoy the Elder Scrolls type games, right?
Yeah.
So you'll have no problem getting into this because it's Elder Scrolls except Avowed, except Pillars of Eternity. Anyways, now we really are going to end this stream. Bye.
Bye.
But